Okay, well, we're starting off today by talking about the Corkyville Public Library's retraining room. We're going to go through the table of contents of what we're going to be discussing today, which consists of our mission, vision, and values, the background, current situation and inventory, our goals, staff development and training, budget proposal letter, our proposed budgets, and our evaluation will come last. The first thing I wish to discuss is our mission, vision, and values. The mission for this is to re-educate, retrain, and return the released to the workplace. Our vision is to rescind recidivism. And our values are to reshape the individual, to re-engage with society, to re-energize the workplace, and we resolve to help those in need. And we feel that these three things working in conjunction will help us realize our goal of helping send people back to the workplace and into society. And I'll pass things off now to Rachel with the background.
Yes, I'm going to give you a little bit of background on our library. Our library is the Corkyville Public Library, and it is fairly close to a county prison. And because of this, we often have a lot of former inmates that come in and want help finding resources to help them find a job or to learn skills for a job. And after many years of this, we decided we need to do something more about this. And as you may know, ALA says as one of their goals for modern librarianship is that we need to provide the highest level of service to all library users, and that's definitely includes former inmates. So even they're just as important to us as any other patron. So we really wanted to focus on finding a way that will help them reach their skills and find new jobs. So, and a lot of times, especially because if they've been in for prison a few years, they're just unacquainted with a lot of the latest technology trends. So we wanted to update them on that. So we decided to create just kind of like a basic life skills workshop to help teach them this. And this is a workshop that would mainly be aimed towards former prisoners, but I mean, it could be used, anyone could use it. And before we put a lot of planning into this, we looked at other libraries and other centers that had done this kind of thing and just saw they had really great success with it. There's a lot of places that have even reported that the people that have used their areas, these kind of workshops, have even gone on to develop their own small businesses, and we loved that idea, so we really wanted to do something like that. So the goal of our technology plan and budget here is just to make a place for former inmates to make a smooth transition back into society.
Mm. And because of that, as we were looking around in our library, it kind of segues nice into our current situation assessment that we conducted for our space. We are incredibly fortunate to have a rather spacious library, but up until this point, we've been primarily focused on print materials for our different patrons of the library. We've had a very small technology lab, only about 6, computers, 2 iMacs, that kind of thing. So it really wasn't geared towards classes to be offered. I mean, we would have to close down the entire section and those kinds of things. So what we were kind of stocked up on, you might say, was spaces for meetings. We had several different spots, whether they be kind of like small conference rooms, or we even had a larger conference room that just wasn't being utilized. Our community, that just wasn't what they were using. So because of that, we decided, hey, let's revamp that space into this retraining lab. So that is where the physical location is going to be. It's going to be in one of our larger conference rooms that was able to accommodate roughly 25 people or so. So we were very fortunate for that. The electric was already prepared for the space, so we just are going to be moving into there with all of this new equipment. So we're very excited. As you can see, we don't have to go through the entire list of stuff, but we're ready to scale up, but we also don't want to, just totally overwhelm ourselves by, quadrupling or anything like that when we just don't have the staff members. We can only hire 1 additional staff member at this time, but we're just going to be kind of working through that. So with our network equipment, it's all ready to go. We've got our different staff members with different areas of their expertise. They are very excited about these new developments. They're interested in, teaching some different classes during the day and in the evenings, and our weekend crew. Everyone is very focused on really revamping kind of what we're all about here at the library. We've always been about bettering those in our community, but now we're really taking a step towards actual hands-on skills training, you might say, and being prepared to get people back into the larger place. And starting with that is, just the simple concepts of computing for some of these folks coming out of there, or basic programming, those kinds of skills. And so we've included a lot of kind of maker spaces, tech that you might say that you usually see for maybe younger teenage kids perhaps, but we feel like it's a really great way of teaching without really knowing that you're learning something. It's just a fun thing that you can experiment with, and we feel like most of the folks that come through our system are looking for something like that, a way to kind of break the trends, kind of get their hands busy with something constructive. So we're very excited to be offering that new stuff. And so our goals for this whole technology space, first of all, we just want to get our library up to date. We just feel like we've kind of been lagging behind. We just want to get into the 21st century, where computers are they're a part of everything, and basic understanding of email, Word, Excel is just expected. And some of these folks just don't have that. So we want to put them on at least that level playing field with everybody else. Also, we just noticed that our library isn't as accessible as it could be. And particularly with this space, we want to make sure that it's not alienating any particular groups because of just a physical handicap like a desk that can't raise or lower. So we're just doing some very basic stuff like that as well. So we're just making sure that as we're growing, we're not leaving some folks behind as we grow to try to include others. And then we just have the other areas of just expanding our computer area because more folks need that. Different classes. Currently, we only offer like one class a month. We're excited to have more of those. And I love the last one of creating an atmosphere of problem solving for all patrons, no matter their ability level. So that means everyone from the young kids working with their parents to the folks that just got released from the county prison coming in here, and they're trying to solve different problems, right? Everyone has different problems to solve, but we want this place to be somewhere that they can tackle those things. So I'll hand it back over to Rachel to kind of talk about how we're going to get the staff trained up and ready to help with all these things.
Yeah, as Eric mentioned, we're going to hire a full-time library technician that will be the one person in charge of this room. She will manage and maintain the room. They'll be the main go-to person to teach the patrons how to use the equipment and the technology, and they'll just be able to guide those patrons through the resources. Also, all the full-time staff members will also get training on how to use the equipment and the technology. So even though we'll have that full-time technician, the other librarians will have that knowledge as well. All the staff members will be trained on how to specifically locate information that is helpful, that is like resources that are specific to technology, engineering, and life skills that will help the people that use this room. And also all the staff members will attend basic first aid training just in case any accidents were to ever happen. Not that we plan on that, but accidents happen. So all of our staff will be trained in first aid so they'd all be able to help in the case of an emergency.
Okay. And to discuss the budget, we've included a letter to the Wimplesoft Selection Committee, kind of proposing what it is we wish to accomplish with the budget and how it ties into our goals, and how we are planned for both a fully funded budget as well as a partially funded budget in case the funding doesn't come through completely. So we included two plans with that, as well as rationale for why we're purchasing what we're getting and where we're getting it from. I'm not going to go line by line in our budget, but I will discuss that when it comes to any repairs, we'll be going through local contractors. Finding prices for that, we averaged out 3 local contractors for both electricians and any roof repairs that would be needed for the space. Going through the budget itself, we've placed a lot of emphasis on technology with computers, with programs, as well as with simple like kit bash tools and Raspberry Pis and things like drills, saws, workbenches, things of that nature, so that people can retrain not just for entering the tech field, but also if they wish to go on to become a contractor themselves or go into some other brand of construction using technology to aid them. At the bottom of our budget, we do leave a line for check refreshment and replacement on a 3-year cycle. On our primary budget, we come to $23,300 for all the materials we're wishing to get. The refreshment budget is 80% of that annual budget. So every 3 years, we spend about $18,000 roughly to refresh technology, replace any broken technology, things of that nature. And we also took into account that we're going to need to replace supplies for some of the materials that we will be purchasing. And for that, we set aside 10% of the annual budget for that, which roughly works about to be $2,000. In our less funded budget, we went with kind of cheaper routes for some things instead of going with specific library vendors such as Demco. We took a look at places like Walmart and Amazon specifically for furniture and furnishings, just to come in at a much lower budget. And our finest budget with the partially funded comes to about $8,500, and that significantly drops our refresh replacement 3-year cycle down to about $6,800, which is a little more feasible if we only come in at the fully funded model. But we're primarily pushing for the fully funded so that we can give our patrons the full experience that we can hopefully provide for them to reach our mission, vision, and values for this. And with that, I'll pass things back over to Eric one last time to discuss our evaluation model.
Yeah. So when it comes to starting some kind of program that's very focused on skill training and programming of events and people coming and going and those kinds of things, one of our main forms of evaluation is going to be just a simple attendance sheets, basically, of how many people are coming in the doors, how many people are using this device. That'll just be some very simple, we don't want to make this restrictive to anybody, so just some very simple sign-in processes for, do you want to use the laser printer today? You make a reservation. So we can do just some very simple reporting, tracking at the end of the month. Keep it in, even a basic Excel sheet when we start out, at least just to kind of have some basic numbers so we can keep reporting back to the board, to the WippleSoft folks to say, hey, look how your investment is doing, that kind of thing. So just some very, very basic just event stats to start out would be for evaluation. But also we're going to use, as all good librarians do, we're going to have some circ stats. We've got a particular fun idea that one of our staff members mentioned of moving some of our makerspace themed books, particularly like the different handbooks and those kinds of things, into either the space itself, the retraining lab, or right outside of it with kind of a display show thing saying, hey, look here if you want something to take home with you to learn a little bit more outside of class. So we'll just be kind of marking those with some tags in the catalog for makerspace_book, so we can run quick reports at the end of the month of, hey, these were our kind of supplementary materials and how often they were checked out. So we can kind of see what's popular, what's not. Because especially after 3 years, when we go to replace, replenish, and those kinds of things, if some items just haven't been used and something else is being used very heavily, we want to definitely respond accordingly to that, so that we can better reach those folks, especially with what's being successful. And a lot of the evaluations also, we're trying to put a little bit back on the folks using it. We're going to always have kind of an opportunity during the classes to just kind of share, how's it going, what's going on with kind of your search, how's it shaping up, that kind of thing, so that hopefully if they get a job or if they have particular successes in something, they can share that back with the library and we can record that and we can have more kind of a personal testimony listing, I guess you might say, kind of almost a human record, you might say, of our retraining lab, to say, look at these lives and how it's been impacted. Since it's very difficult, we are going to have a little bit of a cost savings analysis, just to kind of see where it's like, if these patrons were asked to go out and buy this equipment on their own, this is how much it would cost. Whereas if they come here, look at this savings that they have. So we'll have that to be able to kind of push out as kind of a PR piece a little bit. But just having those personal testimonies, we think, are just going to really respond with folks. So we're very excited to have that as part of it. And we're just going to have some nice little simple sheets. And, there's only about 6 of us on the staff anyway, so we're going to get to know these people. So it's going to be fun to just see how they develop. What kind of comes from it and everything. And we're sticking with the 3-year evaluation just because with technology, it just changed so rapidly that if we stretch it out for much longer, something else has come in, this new training tool, there's a better one or an easier one, something like that. So it's just, we feel like that's still kind of the best timeline for us on this. Some things will always be around, like some kind of word processing and Excel sheets, but for some of those other hard skills, and tech skills for that matter, just kind of to keep it on the cutting edge a little bit. That's what our goal is. So we're excited to see what will come from the grants and how much funding we receive, to what level we can then provide to our patrons out there. But either way, if we can even improve just one life, we will still be pursuing it. And we're very excited to offer this for our patrons. So if you have any questions for us, we would love to answer them.
And I do have a few questions. Let me go ahead and stop the recording here.